So good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much for being with us today. For who I haven't had the pleasure to talk with today, my name is Giorgia Rambelli. I'm the head of the IUC Coordination Unit based here in Brussels. And it's a great pleasure for us to have our second help desk training to discuss with you a little bit more in detail what are the procedure and what are still the key issue and the pending points that you see from your side that need to be strengthened in regard to the support that we provide to cities. In particular, what is important for us to discuss today with you is to share some light on some procedural processes that we have, for example, in the European Covenant of Mayor, which, as you know, has been set up for a very long time, and Elodie will be with us today to shed some light exactly on that point, but also to try to assess with you how we can find a certain level of common approaches, a certain level of coherent procedures and standards, if needed at all, to actually carry out the support to our cities, so that across the different regions, when it comes to the initiative of the Global Covenant of Mayors, they feel absolutely supported equally everywhere across the world. So these are a little bit our points for the day. We will start with a short introduction from Elodie, sharing some insights on how the European Covenant of Mayors has been dealing in the past years with the help desk function. And then after that, we will dig more into several aspects of how to define common approaches, some insights on what's coming from our way in terms of guidelines, but also an open discussion with you on pending issues. And we want to talk about, for example, pending guidelines that will be developed in the next month or weeks even to support the cities in the process of joining, but also in actually carrying out the different steps within the process of the Global Covenant of Mayors. And then also, of course, collecting all of your questions and any pending issue that you see from your side that needs our attention, and to collect also feedback on what we can help you with. So without any further hesitation, I would say that now we are all panelists. I see that everyone has a headset icon beside their name, so hopefully all the microphones are working. I would suggest that we start with a tour de table so that we exchange a little bit and we know who's on the other side of this call. Maybe I would start with the colleagues from our global secretariat that are with us today. So can I ask maybe Elise and Yanning to introduce themselves? I can unmute you. I will start with Yanning. Hi, Yanning.
Hi, Georgia. Hi, Georgia. Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yeah, we can. Can you say a few words about you?
Hi, Georgia. Hi, everybody. My name is Yan Li. I'm in the GCOM Global Secretariat. I'm a liaison officer.
Thank you. Elise?
Okay, now. So hello everyone, my name is Elise Abbes and I'm a Regional Coherence Officer here at the GCOM Secretariat in Brussels.
Thank you. I'm going now to Ervan.
I'm Erwan. Hi everyone. I'm in charge of the help desk for IUC Asia. Thank you.
Thank you very much and welcome. I'll move on now to Madoka. We try again with your microphone. Madoka?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Yeah, okay. My name is Madoka Omito. I'm staff of the IUC Japan office, but I'm living in Germany.
Okay, welcome. So, good morning to you. Like
Good morning.
Noriko? Hi, Noriko. We can hear you, but very, very softly. Perhaps you can raise the volume of your microphone.
Hello, everyone. This is Noriko Sugiyama. I'm a IUC Japan office staff, and here is the university, and here is a three-person Professor Takeuchi and Dr. Naoki Masahara and me.
Thank you very much and welcome to you all then. Looking forward to exchanging. And then finally, last but not least, Bhaskar.
Hello everyone. I am Bhaskar and I represent ICLEI South Asia Secretariat. That's in New Delhi. Thank you.
And you are running the help desk for South Asia, right?
Right now I'm filling in for Soumya. She has gone for another meeting.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good. And then I would say, of course, I forgot a very important person, my colleague Sylvia, that is.
Hi. Good afternoon, evening, everybody, morning for the few that are on closer to us. I'm Silvia Stellini. You might have seen my name in the background. I'm part of the coordination unit supporting the work from Brussels.
Fantastic. And then I would now give the floor to our first speaker of the day, and I'll let her introduce herself. Elodie, I'm giving you the ball. Oops, wrong name. Here it is. Yes. And
Okay.
Great.
I am muting myself. Okay.
Fantastic.
Hi, my name is Elodie Bossio. I'm working in the Covenant of Mayors office in Brussels. Should I then start my presentation?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I've been working in the Covenant of Mayors EU office almost since the beginning. So since late 2009, it's going to be 10 years this year. So that's why I'm giving you this presentation, because I've been here a long time. I'm gonna introduce let's say like the organization and procedures we put in place over the years to manage this increasing community of signatories. So the main objectives of the help desk is, of course, to provide support to the community. But the thing is, we don't want to act as a let's say virtual secretariat or a very standardized. We have a very standardized approach, but we would really need we really like to make sure that we provide, let's say, a bit of personalized support, even though the community is huge. So we have help desk offices, and we have also like a lot of guidance materials. We put procedures in place to ensure like a proper dissemination of information, meaning that everyone is on the same page and have the same information to give to the community, and also like a timely answer, which is also very challenging. We, over the years as well, we moved from a very manual handling of queries, so just answering emails one by one, to trying to automatize some procedures, so that because we could not, you can do manual things and manual procedures when you have like 50 signatories to care for. But when the number reaches several thousand signatories, of course, you need some automation. Our key focus in the beginning was, of course, like promotion and recruitment. And now we don't focus so much, of course, on recruitment, but more on like the process and supporting the implementation, supporting the monitoring of action plan. We started, let's say, with kind of a part-time activity to now a team of, I don't know, because we are not really like, all of us are not really full-time. We're all like doing other stuff as well. But I would say there are like 6-7 people, 6-7 persons involved in the help desk, in the several help desks. We had to adapt to changing situations, changing needs, changing platforms, and we had to develop the help desk based on the needs of signatories, but also on our colleagues, on our clients, the Commission. So it's ongoing process. It's a work in progress, always a work in progress. So the overall activities of our help desk. So we are coordinating the full-time help desk. So we provide administrative and technical support to the community in the 5 main EU languages, so English, German, French, Italian, and Spanish. We have dedicated phone lines and email addresses. We update and develop new procedures and materials according to the needs and to the new context or new development of the initiative. We are the one collecting information from the ground. So usually we are the first in line. So our advice and our feedback and our input is always requested from other officers or from the Commission, because we are the ones able to have to put numbers, to give statistics, usually we are the first informed on like new grants or new developments in some countries, or how political elections or new election affected the progress of the Covenant of Mayors in the country. So we are really like we have a pivotal role in the consortium. And so, as I said, we assess, we help assessing the needs, difficulties, challenges, opportunities of the community members, and we report to other colleagues at the office, but also to the European Commission. This is a quick look at how we are organized at the moment. So we have a help desk coordinator based in Brussels. It's not really me at the moment, but I've been always here in the background. It's my colleague Francesca at the moment, and we answer. We speak like English, French, and Italian, and then we have like other colleagues answering in German and Spanish. And we also have like a dedicated person for the Italian help desk for signatories, because we have lots of members from Italy, so that's why we had to adapt and dedicate some more resources to the Italian help desk. So everyone answers under this info@eumayors.eu email address, and we have one dedicated phone line in Brussels, and the Italian help desk has a phone, also a dedicated phone line. And then you have 2 other help desks that are also under the supervision of the help desk coordinator, is the Covenant Coordinator help desk, so for regions and provinces and groupings of municipalities. And I have been the one in charge since the beginning of this Covenant Coordinator's help desk, with a dedicated email address and phone number. And then you have a supporters help desk for associations, networks of the local authorities. And it's our colleague Eugenia in charge. We answer, I would say, like 90 to 95% of the emails, but sometimes we have to ask for help from the GRC. So if the signatories did not straight away contact the GRC, we do forward emails to the GRC technical help desk for very specific questions on emission factors, or on exactly like how should they calculate the transport emissions or things like this. So we would actually forward this type of inquiries to the GRC. And then we have also two other help desks. Sorry, I thought I put this in white, but it's not really nice in the presentation. But we have also like two other help desks, media and press help desk, taking care of all the inquiries about about press and media, and also like publishing when people want to publish something on our website, are requesting interviews, or would like to contact the Covenant of Mayors office for media opportunities and speaking opportunities. So not speaking, sorry. And then we have the events help desk, where people when people want to organize an event and have a speaker from the Covenant of Mayors office. So these usually like I would say like 80% of the email traffic go through info@eumayors.eu, and we redirect emails to other colleagues if needed. But all the, let's say, general email address that you see are on the website. So signatories can directly contact the press help desk or event help desk. The concepts of the supports, let's say what we're trying to do is to provide, of course, efficient and concise supports. But we, as I was saying, we would like to make sure that people have a feeling of personalized service, even though we have to care for a very large audience. And so it's always like we always need to balance the fact that we would really much appreciate standardized answers, but at the same time we really want to have like a personalized relationship with our community. So as you can understand, it's quite challenging with 8,000, 9,000 signatories. So, for example, the way we address this is like we combine, we have standard replies, but we usually combine this with, we almost never send the standard answer as it is. We always add some personalized information. We try to also like provide links and screenshots. Sometimes we also like you have these tools of to record what you do on the screen to help people navigate in our websites. We provide contacts. People, you have a name at the bottom of our emails. It's not just like a Covenant help desk. You have a person. You have a name of a person. You have a telephone number. So that's how we try to manage, let's say, we have a standardized answer, but that we customize a bit for each answer. So here, let's say, how we operate, and our rules, let's say, for handling inquiries. So we had to define quality standards, and I think this is something that all help desk officers and whole help desk should share. So we provide timely response. So in general, we reply within 2 working days for general requests. So when I say general requests, this would be like a request for which we could use really like almost the standard answer. So this is a very fast answer, let's say. Or 3-5 working days if the request is more technical and we need to consult other colleagues or refer to some material, read again some material and answer with more precise information. This means that we always have a backup when we are out of office. So info@eumayors.eu is almost never on holidays or on sick leave. We always have someone taking care of a request. I think we kind of close the help desk between Christmas and New Year for us. and maybe like 1 week in August where we would be like a bit more flexible, and people would be a bit more flexible because August is a month where in general in Europe you don't have much people working. And if you need, the second important rule is like if you need to consult with other colleagues, especially for a more technical answer, or if you need sometimes to, sometimes you understand that the person really doesn't speak English, and you would need one of the other colleagues, Polish speaking or Slovak speaking, to help you with a request, then the rule is that you're supposed to acknowledge the receipt of the email anyway and tell them that you would answer as fast as you can. This is like, yeah, for the timely response. Then we try to provide high quality response. It means that the person, the help desk officers, they need to be familiar with the covenant requirements, extremely familiar with the covenant requirements, and able to. We understood that standard answer is not the answer to all our issues, let's say. So sometimes you need to understand that the city needs maybe some more flexibility. So of course you have requirements, but you also like need to show some flexibility. So it's a very that's why we always end up writing almost like personalized emails, because the context is always different from one city to another. And if we feel that we are not able to answer properly, we always forward the request to the right help desk team member or the GRC, and of course inform the local authority, the signatory, about transfer and possible delay in answer. This is the third one, as like we emphasize the word human. We don't want to be like the standard IT help desk, or like the standard customer service help desk who really like gets on your nerves because they answer like they just answer and it's not relevant. So that's why we use the standard emails, of course, but we personalize them to the signatory, and we use our personalized signature. So this is really like our, let's say, three main quality standards. So timely response, high quality, but still trying to be human and not just a standard robot. Then we have what we would call also like the tracking approach. So this is more, let's say, in the background. So as I said before, the help desk officers are really like the first in line, and they receive all requests. So we track and share information. What I call the newsfeed is it's kind of it's like a content management system on our platform where officers can write down privately the interaction they had with the city. So if another officer opens the profile of the city, he or she can see what is the history and what is the background. So it's very useful tool, so that the signatory doesn't have to repeat all over again the issue or the history of the work. So we write comments on the extranet on My Covenant, and we try to use. We have a list of common words, some kind of like hashtags, if you wish, if you want. So that it's also like easier to search, and we can also track the number of such requests. For example, I don't know, like let's imagine that someone calls us some city calls us to discuss about what is the rule, what is the procedure to move from 2020 to 2030, and they're considering becoming COM 2030 signatory. Then we would put some kind of a hashtag in the news feed, and so we could add then like a search and filter this result and know that, I don't know, like 55 cities approach us. And so this is let's say this helps us to, for example, when we are asked about the pipeline or the potential number of 2030 adhesion, then we would have some kind of some idea on the numbers, for example. That's the same, tracking information and making sure that we know like how many such requests we receive. When we receive many requests about the same topic, of course, it means that this needs to be translated into a new entry for our FAQs or a new guidebook, guidance material. So this is very helpful for the officers, but also like for the entire community. And if we are made aware of success stories, then we are supposed to disseminate it to the relevant contacts, so either like a COM-EU website, COM-EU press secretariats, but also like in your case, and also in our case, sometimes to the coordination unit and the GCOM secretariat when it's a success story that would be interesting for the entire community. Then our tools. So this is for the tools. This is what we use. It is based on usually what is free, because as all of you, I guess, we have a limited budget, so we cannot access some very fancy tools. So those tools are usually free and accessible to anyone. Let's say, like, not too complicated to use for all colleagues. So I'm presenting what we use. This can give you ideas, but it's not, of course, it's not any advice, or I'm just presenting what are our tools. So our main communication channel, so we have email accounts, info at EU mayors, supporters, coordinators. They are all Gmail accounts, so they allow for several users to work on this mailbox simultaneously. We use, I don't know if it's clear on my slide, but we use a labeling system to classify requests. So you would see that Italy, you have labels for Italy, for example. So it means that, this is to be answered by the Italian helpdesk officer. We have like a lot of categories. So we have country categories, and we have topical categories, and we have, let's say, other help desks. So that's why you would see academia is another help desk, or coordinators is another help desk. Like here you have coordinators, other help desk. And also we try to at least, if it's at least when it's coming from a signatory, we try to categorize the query. So is it a login issue? Is it a monitoring issue? Is it a joint action plan issue? So that as well, when I said that we are tracking and we are trying to also update our FAQs, this would help us updating our FAQs, because when you filter then per category, you know, if you see that you have like hundreds of email about monitoring, you might want to have better FAQs on monitoring. And so, of course, this labeling system helps us to dispatch the email to the right officer or to the other help desks. So for some help desk, of course, we forward the email, but for the main help desk team, so Italy, the Italian officer or the German or Spanish officer, we don't forward. They connect and see what are the requests they need to take care of. And we, as I said, we have dedicated phone lines. Then we have like some small tools that we through, let's say, Gmail that might be useful. So we use a LinkedIn app because it also helps personalizing the email if you see the face of a person. First, you know if it's male or female because sometimes as well, like you might make mistakes. But it's also like it helps, giving a more personalized feeling when you're communicating with the signatories. And we also use something that is very useful when I say we have standard emails. So of course we write standard emails in Word, but then you have a tool in Gmail where you can insert the text for your standard emails. It's called canned responses. And so by if I click on any of these, so for example here I have a reminder, covenant of mayors, what do I have, like official submission of your adaptation plan, for example. If I click on this, it automatically fills in subject, text, and so we just have to personalize the email to the signatory. So this is quite handy. Then we are track the status and progress of the committee of also like a help desk. This is let's say the KPIs and the tools we use to check. So we check the number of emails. So in Gmail you have a meter that tells you like how many emails were received and sent per month. You see how many messages were sent and received. You see as well like sometimes like the 10 most 10 favorite or 10 most used email addresses, for example. So as just for you to know if it's, I don't know if it's useful or not, but we are around 600 emails received and sent per month, and this Gmail meter allows you as well to track the average response time. And so we have quite a good response time because our response time is around 1 day, so 24 hours, meaning that on average an answer is sent in 24 hours. So it's pretty good. We're pretty proud of this. And then we use we share files on Dropbox or Google Drive. When we had a smaller community or when the IT system let us down or could not help us track some issues, we have shared Excel files on G Drive especially, where we track issues and make sure that this would as well feed and give input to the IT team. So this means usually that some IT development is needed, because if we need an Excel file, usually means that we need some IT development. When we had a smaller community, of course, I mean, tracking the number of emails received might not be very relevant, but when we had a smaller community, we had Excel files in which we were tracking number of requests per country, almost like we were having a kind of a CMS system, but just on Excel, where we're who called, the number of calls, like who called, what was the topic, was the issue addressed or not. So, but now we have like a more standardized approach. This is just a quick slide on My Covenant. So this My Covenant, in My Covenant you can find all the contact detail, administrative info of the signatory. You can find all templates and relevant documents in PDF. And that's where as well you see like all the status of the action plan and monitoring, so deadlines, submission date, daily requests, which is, let's say, like the core work of the help desk. Because signatories always ask about next deadline or request postponing deadlines. They ask about submission dates and what happens after submission. they ask about analysis status and what is the status of their submission, let's say. That's also where you see like all these aggregated templates like the Jansi app, you know, who is member or not of a group. And that's also where, as I said, when you open the profile of a signatory, you can see the history, and you can read notes from previous officers. And so our notes date back from 2011. So you would have like more or less like 8 years of notes and comments. They're very short comments, but so to help you monitor the progress of the signatory and write down challenges if they had. That's also where we can manage the FAQs, the events, best practices, and we have automated mechanism for reminders emails. So the signatory receive an email 3 months before the deadline. It's an automatic email telling them that their deadline is approaching. Then they receive another email 1 month before deadline, and then they receive an email at the deadline. So they're like short messages in 5 EU languages, warning them of their upcoming deadline. And it generates notification in the newsfeed, so we can also see that the emails has been sent and when the email has been sent to the city. So our support tools, of course, they frequently asked questions. So this is, let's say, our main guidance document, and so we update them very regularly. They might not be all uploaded on the website, but we update them very regularly because we need it to answer the questions. And of course, we include, for example, FAQs include as well the one approved by the Founders Council, and will include the ones about the documents we will, the guidelines we will develop together on what to answer a signatory, a city when they want to register to GCOM, to EUCOM, to Regional Secretariat. What is the status if they were already registered in one platform and not the other, but they report in one platform or the other. So this is our main tool, like the FAQs. And then we have an online resource repository. So it's also like you have one private part in My Covenant in the extranet, and one public part in the library, where you have publications and guidelines on how to fill templates, how to submit the templates, how to submit the action plan, how to develop a joint action plan. And we have inspiration for plans and actions through the e-learning. I'm almost done. This is, let's say, like the setup and the challenges we had over the years. So we went from a very small audience to a large audience very quickly. So in the first year, we had like 1,000 signatories, while we were expecting 150. So we have also like changing priorities or interests in the common IUC community. So, for example, like until 2015, we were not talking about adaptation, and adaptation to climate change has become a priority topic. So, of course, we need to adapt. And we are trying constantly with our IT team to find new ways, new means to automate some of the procedure to free as well time from the officers, so that they can provide really personalized support and not and remove, let's say, like the standard part, because if it's a standard email, means that it can be sent by the system, while a personalized email of course needs human interaction. So if we can automatize a certain process and procedures, then we have more time to provide personalized support. Yeah, so this is what we already said in the beginning. So we are trying to have a standardized personal approach. We try to ensure a one-stop shop with so that people don't see that behind maybe you have like a 10 or 15 person replying, but that all these people have exactly the same information, give the same information, are all briefed and on the same page when answering to signatories, so that we don't. So we provide a united front and a one-stop shop. And we try to combine different means of support and guidance. We have of course like emails, but we also try to when needed to organize webinars on specific things when we really like feel there is a need from the community to have like a more support in one topic or another. And I'm done with my presentation. This was my last slide, and this is my my personal email address if needed.
Thank you very much, Elodie, for the great overview, and also congratulations for all the tools and the procedures that you have set in place. I would like to open the floor for questions from the people on the call. And while you're thinking about your questions, I would also ask you to please maybe think about where do you stand and what do you think you would need in order to be able to better perform your support in terms of to the cities that are joining up right now. So the floor is yours. Any questions from anyone? You can also type them, by the way, if you like. I can read them for you. Maybe I will start then, actually addressing someone in the audience. We have with us today our colleagues Yanning and Elise from the GCOM Secretariat, and they are also somehow performing a little bit of an help desk function in redirecting queries to the different regions, as well as in addressing questions that are coming from cities that want to sign up in other parts of the world where there is currently not a secretariat running. Yanning, what has been your experience so far in terms of procedures for replying to queries from cities?
Yeah, hi Georgia. Yeah, it's very interesting to hear about the experience of a help desk from the EU governance side. So I'm managing the info emails at the GCOM site. So I received many emails from cities regarding commitment, and often about who should sign and if they are eligible for join, and what are the responsibilities after commitment, what kind of support will they receive, and what obligations city and what kind of resources they may need to fulfill their commitment, and things like that. I don't have a standard answer. Normally, it's case by case. It's good ideas to actually accumulate some good standard answers. We are also now working on some standard communication materials, which would make the job easier in the future.
Thank you, Yanning. And maybe from our colleagues from Asia, then IUC Asia, you have set up your help desk now for a while. Do you have any specific challenge that you're still facing? Anything that you think maybe could be improved? For example, we're talking about standard answers, more automatic feedback or collection of the different replies. Any experience from Asia that you would like to share? You can unmute yourself by clicking on the microphone icon beside your name.
Yeah, actually, I have just taken the post for like a month here now. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, and so far it's been actually we are still working out on how GCOM can be synchronized with the uh, governance on climate change framework in different countries. That is because I think I don't know. This is like the cities themselves. In the in terms of governance, they have limited capacity, whether it is to set targets or to collect information. Like, for example, there is no single entity that actually collect all the data from all the emission sectors. They usually feed the data from the cities to the province. I that is one thing that we need to resolve, and I don't know whether that such things, how do, for example, in European cities, how, what is the how do cities uh, synchronize with the national climate change framework in adopting GCOM? Yeah, I think that's it for me for now.
Thank you. Or maybe Elodie can also complement, but from European perspective, we have an overall goal that is being set by European policy. So Elodie mentioned during her presentation this different set of targets that all European cities are committing to. We have the 2020 strategy, which foresees a 20% of reduction of emissions, 20% of increase of energy efficiency and of renewable energy that will continue until 2020. And then after that, the targets will be are actually changed. And this is when Elodie was talking about, for example, cities recommitting to new targets with a reduction of emissions of 40%, for example. So there, even though there is, of course, national context, especially in regards to collection of data, this is very much done also following different types of structures that you can find in different countries. So, for example, in certain cases, the regional level also is the one that would maintain the largest amount of data because it can collect directly from the public, from the private sector, the information that is needed. But in other cases, there is a more nationalized approach, so it's a little bit flexible. But all in all, we have this larger European framework that provides sort of a background to the initiative per se. I don't know if Elodie, you want to reply anything else, and maybe a question to you. Such a type of question, a city asking where can I find my data? Is that something that you will receive as a help desk? And if so, who will answer that question?
Thus far, there is no such questions yet. Although I think we have, for example, in Indonesia, there are 16 signatories, but we have yet to come across such question. Yeah, I think that's about it for now.
Thank you. Elodie?
Yeah, for data collection, for example, we also in Europe have several systems, several methodologies. So at member states, so at national level, they report their emission anyway to the European Union. It's compulsory, but at city level, it's often not compulsory, or it's just a voluntary. It's a voluntary reporting in many countries. So for data collection, it was a very hot topic in the first years of the Covenant of Mayors, because this was, let's say, like our main question. And you're right, this would be, I think, in the beginning of your life as a help desk, it would be one of the first, let's say, technical question to address. So the Joint Research Center developed guidelines on how to do an emission inventory. But of course, cities were a bit at loss on where to find the data, how to collect the data, And of course, this data come from different levels. It might come from the province, it might come from the region, it might come from national database, it might come from the energy suppliers, energy providers. So one of our activities, for example, it's not as a help desk, but it's as a Covenant of Mayors office. One of our activity was to organize national webinars on data collection, where advanced cities explained to other cities how and where they found the data, how did they organize the data collection, and what are, for example, the assumptions they took, to which, where did they find some issue in collecting data. And this was very useful as well, because when you start having dozens of cities requesting data to someone who don't want to share this data, you might find yourself in a position to lobby, let's say, and to put pressure on this organization so that they release data for the cities and find, let's say, an agreement. So this was a very intense activity in the first year of the covenant. Help cities understand how to organize this data collection. And so, yeah, one of the ways to address it was a set of written material and a set of events and capacity building events, so through webinar in national languages, and of course, like capacity building workshops.
Thank you very much. Maybe I will move to Japan then. Do you have any specific question that you have, or maybe you have received from your cities so far? And if so, were you able to respond to them, or do you need some support, for example, from people like Elodie that has been, doing this job for a long time? I will unmute both Madoka and Noriko. Hello, can you ladies hear us?
Yeah.
I think there might be again a problem with the microphone. Perhaps you can raise your volume a little bit. No, I'm afraid we can't hear you. All right. Any other question then from anyone else? I know that the support from the help desk in South Asia has just started, but maybe now that you've seen this presentation, Bhaskar, do you think that there is anything that you would like to explore or to receive in terms of support from other help desks that have more experience that could facilitate you in your work in responding to the cities?
Thank you. The presentation was really comprehensive, and I would like to congratulate everyone working on the help desk to have managed these tools and making it automated and everything. As for South Asia, I'm really not sure because I've just joined in. So what I can do is have a discussion, internal discussions here, and let's see what are the requirements that we have, and directly we can write to you back on your email ID, if there are any.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Great. Okay, then since we only have 5 minutes left, I would like to leave you with a couple of information from our side, and I'm happy that the colleagues of the GCOM are also here. As you know, the IUC Coordination Unit is in charge to provide you support in performing this service to your cities. It's also involved very much in all the different dialogues and exchanges that are happening at the global covenant level in different technical working groups that are carrying out somehow the steering and the decision making in terms of giving a general coherence to the overall initiative. And I know that from many of your regions, a few questions have been popping up, at least in our direction. So I want to share some information on what is coming soon. So first of all, I'd like to share with you that, as you probably know, actually, for sure, you know, a new global reporting framework has been launched in terms of a consultation, but also approved in the past months, and has been communicated also as a final result to the cities and internationally. So this reporting framework now is, of course, global, and it provides general guidelines, and there is, as you probably know, some room for adaptation in regards of the different specificity that your regions might have. So a little bit of a question, but also a little bit of a homework to you, since most likely soon you will have cities actually asking you questions about what they are committing to, what is the process, and how will they report on the work that they are doing, is to have a look at this global reporting framework and explore if you see anything that, from your point of view, would need some adaptation from the regional side. And I will invite you to discuss with your team specifically about this. I have understand, and Yanning, please correct me, that there is a procedure in order to submit any comment or any changes in terms of this framework. As far as I understand, they have to be submitted to the technical working group that is dealing with it. We will check the coherence. Can you confirm if that's the case?
Hi, Giorgia. This is Elise.
Hi.
So indeed, as the Data Technical Working Group is currently finalizing the guidance regarding the implementation of the Common Reporting Framework, and that should be shared by the second week of February, they will at the same time share what this kind of how this process will work to enter a dialogue with the Data Technical Working Group on specific adaptations or specificities at the regional or national level that would need to be addressed for a specific country or region. And indeed, it's going to be, I mean, they will clarify exactly, I mean, to which email and how this communication channel should be established so that you all have the opportunity to not only analyze the guidance and the content of the Common Reporting Framework with your technical partners as part of the steering groups or organizations involved at the regional or national level, but also be able to exchange with the Data Technical Working Group members on those specific requests.
Thank you very much, Elise. And I ask you to please also stay unmuted because we go on with other things that are coming soon. So another question that I've received quite often from the different help desks, it's about the production of any template from the data working group in regards to sustainable energy climate action plan, climate action plan. I think that there are different names in the different regions. Can you confirm that there will be some general principles, but that the idea is not to actually have a one unique template, but rather to support cities in what they are already developing very often as requested by law?
Exactly. And indeed, we also receive a lot of questions on methodologies and methods to carry out this whole process. And as you were saying, the Common Reporting Framework sets out a series of principles and a series of criteria that should guide the overall process. But as we know that in each different context, either at regional or even very national, local level, there are already a lot of planning exercises that have been carried out or are currently being carried out, including specificities on climate change, adaptation, energy, etc. The idea is to build on the available expertise on the ground and the practice also that the local governments have to support them in this process based on these principles and criteria, but following methodologies and approaches that make sense at the local level.
Thank you very much. Another frequent question that I understand cities are posting to our help desk is in regards of what reporting platform they should use. Can you tell us what is the official standing as of today from the Data Technical Working Group? Is it still these different platforms?
Yes, exactly. For now, the correct answer or the standardized answer is to offer the possibility of the three officially, if we can call them like that, platforms that the GCOM works with. So that is My Covenant, CDP, and Carbon. And there is, I mean, as part of the data technical working group, there is a specific subcommittee on reporting platforms that is currently working on harmonizing these different questionnaires that the platforms have, not only to make sure that it aligned with the common reporting framework, but also to try to align the experience that the cities will have, whatever platform they choose. So the idea is to make sure that for the next reporting exercise and at the global level, for example, on CDP and carbon sign is something that will be already happening as from April this year, that they can already access this kind of reviewed and updated and harmonized questionnaire. On My Covenants platform, this process will take a little bit more time, and we will be sharing specific communication on those platform issues so that it's clear, and again, we have a harmonized way to answer this question.
Thank you very much, and sorry for putting you on the spotlight.
No, no worries.
Maybe from my side, I want to also let you know that the concept of badges that is being developed by the Global Coherence Working Group to allocate to cities that are achieving different steps along the way of of their work within the initiative is being finalized. It has been checked with different working group, including the data one, to make sure that there is coherence with the framework that is being developed. So very soon you will be able to allocate colorful badges, and I'm expecting that a lot of cities will be asking you for those. So if you receive a question about those, please keep in mind that this is coming your way, and yeah, it's foreseen. And then finally, I want to share with you the news that we are working at the moment on a series of health desk guidelines. At the moment, they are a work in progress. I'm going to share with you my screen just to show you very quickly the structure of the document. Just a moment. So we are working together with the Global Covenant Secretariat and also taking in all the information that we are receiving from the help desk to really give you as much as possible an overview of what are the different procedures, what to respond, what to say to a new signatory, what to provide as a basis, so that we have at least a minimum set of coherent things that can be shared across the regions. We also have a few open questions and revised frequent asked questions that you will probably receive or have already received in the past months from your cities. If there is anything that it's coming frequently your way, we would really, really appreciate if you will be able to share that with us, so that we can make sure that these things are responded to, in an official manner and in a manner that is coherent across the regions to avoid any type of confusion. Finally, I would like to remind all of you in the help desk that, as you know, we have a series of tools that have been set in place exactly to make sure that, at least for the IUC regions, but also maybe for other GCOM regions in the future, we will have a sort of a basic approach in collecting the information from the new signatories. Most of you will probably see this, and since we have been filling it in with information for us. But this document, I know it's never really rewarding to fill in tables, but this is a shared tracking sheet that we have between all of our offices and the GCOM Secretariat as well, where we can track which are the new signatories, the key information that need to be displayed on the website of the GCOM to make sure that the cities can find themselves into the actual website. It talks about first contacts being made, and it tracks a little bit of a note on any communication that needs to be taken into account in the comments field. So it's a way for us, not as efficient probably as the one that the European colleagues have, but definitely not as automatized, but a way for us to at least share basic information and to make sure that at least new signatories can find themselves easily on the website. And then I would like to invite you to discuss with your colleagues again in your teams. I think it's very often your team leader, but please don't forget that there are a set of monthly updates to be carried out in terms of main activities the GCOM in your region is carrying out, so that your office is carrying out in your region. And all of these are also shared with the colleagues at the GCOM, so that we make sure that everyone is on the same page in terms of what's going on globally. So I would like to invite you to please make sure that those are updated together with your team. I don't know how you, of course, allocate the responsibilities. This is absolutely your prerogative to decide. But the deadline is the 1st February, the first Friday of every month. So in this case, we will go for the 8th of February, and it would be great if you could please make sure that you take a look at the tracking sheet as well as the general report, so that we make sure that everyone is on the same page. So with this, I would like to close the call. We are slightly late, but I really want to thank all of you for participating, and a very big thank you to Elodie for her time, also for sharing all the knowledge that she has. And if you have any questions, I would say please make sure that you write an email to us, and we will make sure that we will provide you as quickly as possible our response. And we are particularly interested in knowing if you are facing any challenge, if you need any tools, if you would like to learn more about anything, for example, the standardized replies or anything else, so that we can support you as quickly as possible and as thoroughly as possible. And finally, I would like to all invite you to mark your calendar. We are planning to organize another session of training for Helpdesk in February, most likely towards the 3rd, 4th week of the month. We will invite again the colleagues from the GCOM Secretariat to participate, and the idea is to really dig a little bit more into the latest developments of these reporting guidelines that are being produced, and to give you a proper update on what's going on with that and what are the features that the cities will have to somehow comply with. This could be, of course, also the starting point for a more regular call gathering the different help desk officers, and I think that could be a great opportunity, not only to include the GCOM Secretariat and you guys, but also to include perhaps people from the other regions that are not part of the IUC, because I think there is a lot of knowledge, and of course it's a great opportunity for sharing not only problems and issues faced, but also great success stories. So please mark your calendar. We will send out an invitation, and we will circulate an agenda as soon as possible. If there is no immediate comment, I would actually close the call. So it's to you. Any comments, any questions, anything that you want to share with us?
No, it's okay on my side. And as you were just saying before, we had some requests for some of the colleagues that are running helpdesk to eventually have some kind of a regular call to discuss the different questions they receive and how we can help them providing answers. So if we find a way to make this happen, we would be great to support that.
Fantastic. Okay, with this positive note, then I thank you once again, everyone, and look forward to talking to you very soon.
Thank you very much, Giorgia.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Have a nice day.
You too.